Hello everyone, this is Mr. Appel, and we're going to look at finding the x and y intercepts for this equation, this rational function. So y-intercept is when x equals 0, so that's going to be 0 comma something. So this is the easier one because you're plugging 0 in for x. So if we plug 0 in for x right there, we get negative 1 over negative 3 plus 5. Negative 1 over negative 3 is positive 1/3. You really got to be careful with the signs. And so that's 5 1/3. So our y-intercept is 5 1/3. Now I have the graph here because it's really critical that when you do that calculation that you check to make sure it matches your graph. So the y-intercept of 5 1/3 is just above 5. It's just above that vertical asymptote. So it's right in here. So that makes sense. If you made a mistake in here, very easy mistake to make and think that this is a negative 1/3, and you might have gotten, let's say, 4 2/3. But if you did, your y-intercept would be down here. It'd be on the wrong side of the horizontal asymptote, so you'd know you did something wrong. So it's really critical that you compare your intercepts with your graph and make sure that everything matches up. And if it doesn't, try to figure out what went wrong. Okay, now let's do the x-intercept, which is a little bit harder. That's when y equals 0. So we're going to set this expression equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract the 5 from both sides. I didn't give myself much room to work with here, but I'll make it work. And then what we're going to do is we're going to multiply both sides by the x minus 3 to clear out the denominators. So they cancel out on the left, leaving us just with that negative 1. On the right, we have a negative 5x plus 15. Be super careful with your signs here. Then we're going to subtract the 15 from both sides. Again, super careful with your signs. Negative 1 minus 15, that's negative 16, equals negative 5x. Then we're going to divide both sides by that negative 5. Two negatives make positive when we're dividing, so that is 16/5, or 3 1/5. Again, there's a lot of little things that can go wrong in that calculation and all of this work in here. But I'm going to check to see, does that match my graph? And it does, because if I look here, 3 1/5 for the x-intercept is right around there, just on the right of that asymptote. Now my graph's not perfect, so it doesn't look perfect, but I am expecting a number just to the right of that asymptote. So that's a great way to check to make sure that what you've done is correct. And then of course, sorry, I should have mentioned this earlier, you're writing your answer as the ordered pair, the coordinates of that point. I'm pretty flexible. If you wrote that as 3 1/5, that's fine. If it's a decimal that's a friendly one like this, if you wrote 3.2, that would be okay. It would even be okay if you left it as an improper fraction. Although this isn't that useful because I don't really know where that is on the graph without converting it to like 3 1/5 or 3.2. So these are really preferable, but any of those would be okay. All right, that's all for now. Thanks.